Hey guys, today we are going to be talking about geometry vocabulary. Go ahead and get some paper out. We have a lot to write down. Make sure you're writing down everything that I write down. We're starting with the symbols. Geometry has a lot of symbols and you're expected to know what they mean. They will not write everything out for you. So anytime you see two bars like this, it is parallel. And if you see two bars that make a right angle, like this one, this is perpendicular. I also need you to know that an equal sign with a squiggle on top is congruent. If you have two letters with a line on top, and it's just a line, there's no arrows or anything, this is a line segment. If you have two letters and there is arrows on the line, this is just a line. The difference between a line and a line segment, a line goes forever in both directions, a line segment stops. If there's only one arrow, oops, it can be AR, AB. This is a ray. This goes forever in one direction, but not the other. And then anytime you see a curve like this, that's an arc. We're going to get into arcs in a minute. So these are some of the basic ones. There's a few more for me to go over. If I'm going too fast, remember you can always pause your video, catch up, and then hit play again. This right here looks like a less than sign is actually angle. So if you see something that says angle and then some letters, it's angle like ABC. If there is an M in front of it, it means measure of angle. So they might tell you the measure of your angle is 90 degrees. Anytime you have a triangle in front of some letters, 3 letters in particular, that means it is a triangle. And you name it by the letter. So this would be triangle ABC. Same thing if you have a square and then 4 letters. This is not necessarily a square. It can be any quadrilateral. Now there's a lot of quadrilaterals. There are squares, rectangles, rhombus, trapezoid, parallelogram, kite, like there's a lot. So just because you see a square does not mean it is a square. It means it's a quadrilateral, which is just a 4-sided figure. And anytime you name a quadrilateral, I'm just going to do a parallelogram, for example. So this is a parallelogram. If I was going to name it ABCD, you always go around the shape. You never, ever cut across. It doesn't matter where you start as long as you go around. It also doesn't matter which way you go around. You can go clockwise or counterclockwise. All of that does not matter as long as you do not cut across. Do not go A, B, C, D. You have to go around. So I might name this one A, B, C, D. And that's with all shapes. A triangle, it's impossible to cut across it. But anything 4 sides or bigger, always go around. All right, so these are our symbols. The next thing I want to get into are the different types of triangles. So there are triangles, such as this. And these are all identified based on their angles. So this is a right triangle. It has a right angle in it. We know that because there's a box in the corner. If you see the box in a corner, it's automatically a right angle and it equals 90 degrees. If all of your angles are less than 90 degrees, we call that acute. And if you have one angle bigger than 90 degrees, we call that obtuse. And like I said, all 3 of these are named by their angles. We can also name triangles based on their sides. So if I have 3 equal sides, and I know this because of the tick marks, if they have the same number of tick marks, that means they're the same. This is called an equilateral. If two of them match, like this is isosceles. And if none of them match, so notice they all have different number tick marks, that is scaling. And like I said, these are all named for their sides. So different types of triangles. We're also going to get into circles, and we're going to do a lot with circles. Just go ahead and give you the heads up there. So we have so far symbol vocabulary, triangle vocabulary, and here comes circle vocabulary. I'm going to go ahead and draw 2 circles, and then I'll kind of get into what everything is on those 2 circles. So a line cutting through the center goes all the way to each end of the circle. This is called a diameter. If it only goes from the center to the outside like this is a radius. Hopefully you've seen these before. Some you may not have seen before. If I have a line that goes through the circle but doesn't go through the middle, like this is called a chord. If I have a line that goes through but also doesn't hit the middle, so notice a chord is a line segment. This one keeps going. This is called a secant. So the only difference between a chord and a secant is a chord stops on the circle and a secant keeps going. I can have one that only touches at one point. This is called a tangent. So this is a line that only touches at one point. And this one point that it touches at, this right here, is called the point of tangency. So if it goes through and only hits at one spot, notice a secant hits twice and a chord hits twice. If it only hits once, it's a tangent. All right, so that is circle vocabulary. Flipping my page. Next, I'm going to go into arcs. You guys have not seen arcs before. So I'm going to draw a circle real quick, and I'll kind of show you how the arcs work. So first thing I need you to know is that a circle, the whole thing, is 360 degrees. Now everything from here on out is just a piece of the circle. So I can have something called a minor arc, and that means it is less than 180 degrees. Remember, 180 is going to be half of your circle because 180 is half of 360. So if I am less than half, for example, from here to here, that is a minor arc. It's less than 180. It's called a semicircle if it equals exactly 180. So for instance, from like here to here, that is a semicircle. It covers half the circle exactly. So if I connected these 2 points, it would make a diameter. And then the last one is a major arc. So I have minor arc and major arc. This is when it is bigger than 180. So it goes more than halfway around. So for example, let's say I started, I'm just going to pick a spot. If I started here, this would go more than 180. So it might go all the way around to here. There we go. That is more than half the circle. This is not an arc, but it is something I need you to know. Anytime you have a piece of the circle like this, So it's kind of like a piece of pizza or a piece of pie. This is called a sector. So anytime you have a piece of your area, it's a sector. If you have a piece of your circumference, remember circumference goes around, it's an arc. So sector is a piece of the area, area's inside. Arcs are pieces of your circumference. A couple more things, guys. I know it's a lot of vocabulary. Geometry's a lot. Next thing I have is circle angles. We did other angles. So circle angles. If the angle is at the center of the circle, the vertex of it, if it's at the center, this is called a central angle. If the vertex is on the circle, so notice the vertex, which is the point, so an angle comes to a point. If that point is on the circle, it is an inscribed angle. So vertex at the middle is central. Vertex on the circle is inscribed. I do need you to know that when we name an angle, it is named like this, A, B, C. It will never ever be named A, B, C. You have to follow the angle every single time. Do not jump around, just like you can't jump around on that quadrilateral, you have to follow it in order. All right, some other angles I want you to know about. When angles are split in half, so for instance, if a line splits an angle in half, so this side is the same as this side, this line is called a bisector. Splits your angles in half. A midpoint will split a line segment in half. So if this is split in half so that this side equals this side, this is a midpoint. Other angles you might see, or you will see, sorry. When you have angles that form an X, let me change colors. The ones that face each other are called vertical angles. So these two green ones are vertical, and they're always equal. And these two pink ones are vertical, also equal. So these are called vertical angles. You can also have angles that look like this. These add to 180. They're called supplementary. So this angle plus this one, I'll color them pink and green again. So I have this one and this one. Those together are going to add to 180. Another word for this is linear pair. So you may see linear pair, just wanted to make you aware of that. We also have ones that make a right angle like this. So again, here's the pink one and the green one. And together, these are complementary angles. They equal 90 degrees. And then our last ones are on parallelograms typically. Oops, that was a really poor drawing of a parallelogram. That one's better. So if I have angles like this, these are opposite. And if I have angles that are beside each other, like this, these are adjacent. Adjacent angles equal 180 in a parallelogram, and opposite angles are congruent in a parallelogram. This is a lot of information, guys. Oh, I'm so sorry. There we go. This is a lot of information. You do not need to memorize it all today, but I do want you to use this to do your vocabulary. I will see you guys later.